Recording. Okay, perfect. All right. Sorry, guys. If you find this call or you're watching it later, we had a malfunction. There were about 30 people on here, and now they're lost and can't find me. And I'm so sorry. But that's the way it goes sometimes. I'm going to be looking at some notes to keep me on track, or else we'll be here like for 2 hours. So if I get muted again, Emily, and I can't see anybody waving their arms at me, just like call me and let me know that I got muted. Okay, y'all, I am seriously so excited about this particular group. Like, the holidays were just kind of a lull, and like, if y'all are like me, I'm just going to be transparent here. It's not my favorite time of year, like at all. So it was finally over, and I'm like, whoo. And then we've got all these people starting fresh, and just the momentum and the excitement is just super, super, super inspiring for me, and I know for Emily as well. And so we did see some of your introductions in the other call that we started, and how everybody's kind of from all over the place, and everyone is in different walks of life. And so we will not go through a couple introductions here in the chat feature while we're waiting for everybody to jump on, because we're already 20 minutes past time. So I'm sorry to take that time from you, but I would encourage you, if you've already introduced yourself in your Monday thread, but you haven't gone back to kind of meet the other people, I would definitely encourage you to go through and do that. If you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself, please do that. We do find that people who are active, engaged, and present in the Facebook group do have a much higher rate of success. So even if it's not your thing, kind of force yourself, put yourself out there a little bit, and I promise you will have a much better experience. So anyway, I am just so thrilled for the goals that y'all have set and the path that you have all been walking to get to this moment. And just a side note, I do get a little teary and cry sometimes. So I do have my paper towel right here. I was getting choked up a minute. Needed to calm it down. But anyway, and so I'm just really, really excited for the direction that you are headed with the Faster Way to Fat Loss. And I can say that because I mean that. And I know that several of you are here just because you know that this program is working for so many, and maybe you have already been walking in some fitness and nutrition goals, and you just kind of want to change things up or do something a little different, and you know that the Faster Way to Fat Loss will get you there as well. And so you're just going to crush the muscle building and the toning. And then the rest of you are thinking, I can't wait to watch what happens for me. Because just like many of you, I was super exhausted and defeated just trying every single restrictive and complicated plan or program that was on the market. And I was just tired of quick fixes because A, they weren't quick, and B, they didn't fix me. So I was frustrated with all the auto subscriptions and the supplements. And it was like, I cannot swallow or shake another thing. I cannot wrap myself back up. I cannot rub another thing on my body. So I just quit. And I then went to the opposite extreme, and I literally became a fast food junkie. And so now I'm kind of on the other side of that. And it wasn't a natural process for me. I'm not just like that kind of person. So that is sort of what fuels me to motivate and encourage and equip and empower y'all. Because if I can do it, I'm talking like the bottom of the barrel, lowest point in life. If I can get here from there, I know that anyone can. So if you're wondering what that other side looks like, I'm going to tell you what freedom looks like. It looks like energy. It looks like motivation. It looks like feeling like you have something that keeps you in control. Empowerment to make healthy choices. You will literally change your mindset and shock yourself at the way your framework around food, nutrition, even just your future, how it all shifts. Let's see. So we are going to get started. All right. Really and truly, if you had told me 1 year ago today, like this time last year even, what is the month? January. If you had told me then that I would be down 25 pounds, 4 pant sizes, and in the best shape of my life, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, operating 3 different successful businesses while homeschooling 5 children, I would have legitimately laughed in your face, because I was the 2 to 3 hour a day napper and like the looking forward to when these kids go to bed person, because I was just that defeated. in life. And so now that doesn't mean that my body is like super perfect, nor do I want one. You will never see me competing in a bikini competition. You probably won't even see me wearing a bikini, except for in next anniversary when Bray and I go out of town. Like, he's like, oh, wear a bikini. I'm like, oh. But anyway, so that's not what you're going to see from me. And I just did not think that the effects of all my poor habits and the exhaustion were going to be able to be undone. So then in June of 2017, like I said, I was napping 2 to 3 hours a day, eating most of our meals from the drive-through, and really just seeing no way out of my unhealthy mental and physical habits. And that had gone on for almost a decade. So nothing I had tried or attempted to try was really motivating because nothing was sustainable or manageable for me. So please, please trust that you are in the right place, no matter which of those camps you are in, whether you're just like amping it up and taking it to the next level, or whether you are just starting from ground zero, if you will. And trust that you will change your health over the next 6 weeks. And I really, really want you to remember that we are all starting at different places. And for many of us, we're starting for the first time, and it's never, ever too late. There are lots of different goals here, and you are on your journey. You're working toward your goals. So for the first time in your life, you are in a space that you can be free to do that because you're in your lane. You're not worrying about somebody else's macros. You're not worrying about how much weight someone else has lost. You are really digging into what you plan to accomplish and how you are going to get there. And I'm going to help you achieve those things. So you may be frustrated sometimes, and you may have already wanted to quit because this this is very overwhelming in the beginning. And I promise you, if you can just hang tight, give it all you've got, it's not going to be perfect. You are not going to understand everything of this food cycle and how to get those macros met by the end of even week 1. Okay. End of week 2, middle of week 3, that's when it's going to start happening. So if you can just give me that amount of time, that amount of focus, that amount of hope for that time period, I promise you, you'll get through this little learning curve and you'll be on the right track. So I'm going to do all in my power to see that you're successful, but you're going to have to do your part too. And that's just going to be keeping that positive mindset, taking it day by day, meal by meal, snack by snack, and just being proud and grateful for how well you do and not looking at how not well you do each day, because there's going to be a learning curve. Like I said, you may not accomplish everything you've set out to these next 6 weeks, but I know if you trust the process, maintain a positive mindset, and just do your very best. Like, what is the best version that you have today? Do that. What is the best version you can do tomorrow? Do that. You will have results, and most importantly, you will feel better and have more confidence along the way. I've done this for almost 400 people now, and you're not going to be any different. It's not going to stop with you. So just trust us in that. So, okay, if you, oh my gosh, if somebody sent you to this group and you have no clue as to who I even am, well, let me introduce myself. I'm Amberly Devers. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5. I'm the owner of Dwellness Consulting. I'm a certified fast away to fat loss coach, and I am currently authoring a journal called 30 Days to Dwellness. And I am so glad that you are here. It is going to be a great 6 weeks. So the real turning point for me was when I realized I started doing this nutrition and these workouts not because I wanted to look different on the outside, but because of how I was looking different on the inside. It really became more about the journey and the process than it did the destination. And I know that's like such a cliche, but it was really true. And that is the mind shift that I'm mentioning to you. I really reached a point where the goal I was trying to attain, lose weight, be fit into my clothes, was no longer the goal. Just doing my best version with this new and amazing and effective and efficient tools that I had through the carb cycling and the intermittent fasting and the macro tracking, that became the goal. So for the first time, a healthier lifestyle of nutrition and fitness really became part of me. And this will take your fitness and nutrition to the next level, even if it's just like the first level. That's great, in ways that you actually do not even think are possible right now. I know you don't think it's possible right now because I've been there. And you will discover that everything about this program is counterintuitive to what you've been thinking or doing for the last however many years, especially if you're coming from a keto lifestyle, especially if you've been restricting calories and over exercising and doing hours and endless amounts of cardio. This is going to be completely different than that. So when you begin to doubt, I just want you to ask yourself this question: were those other things working for me? And the answer is no. And that's why you're here. So please trust me. Please trust this process. When I began my health journey, I literally began with just a few small steps toward health. So if you know those bits of my story, I started out with lessening my drive-through runs, walking 10,000 steps a day. That was literally all I could manage. And then over those few months, I lost like 9 pounds. And then I turned into a runner. Literally, I've never run more than a mile straight in my life. And on Thanksgiving Day of 2017, I ran 6 miles. That was 3 months to the day that I said, enough is enough. I've got to change my health. I went from barely a walker to a runner of 6 miles. Like that, people just don't do that. I was not that person, y'all. Like, it is not like I came from that background and then I started things back up when I got ready. No, that was never me. So you don't have to have a background or an interest previously in fitness or nutrition to change where you are right now. By the way, I have not run 6 miles since then, but I did it. And because of that journey, I 100% believe that we can all do hard things. And I said we, not me. So that includes you. And it's an incredible testimony of how we learn to do these hard things, putting one foot in front of the other when we do not feel like it, when we are overwhelmed, when we are stressed, when our kids are so loud that we literally cannot think or function, when our colleague is getting on our last nerve, when the darts of life are hitting us from every corner. And so I hope this becomes, as I spit everywhere, I hope this becomes a place of that sort of encouragement for you as well. So in November of last year is when I found the faster way to fat loss, and it truly changed my life. And I knew I had to take it to you and to you and to you and to you. And I still have room for my own progress and improvement. I'm not perfect, and I still love the challenge of setting new small goals and challenges each day and each week along this road to health, just like you. So I'm just a few steps ahead of you. I am not like this, guru of health and fitness and nutrition. I am just a guide on this path alongside you. And I'm going to encourage you to do these next 6 weeks together with me as I continue in this lifestyle. But I will say the Faster Way to Fat Loss is truly, hands down, the best program on the market. We are literally disrupting the fitness and nutrition industry. And so you guys are ahead of that curve, and you're going to be the ones telling your friends about how amazing it is. And you're just going to be in the know. You're a trendsetter. That's fun. And so I think you're going to find, like me, this is the least restrictive lifestyle change to health that you have ever tried. It has given me and so many others the freedom to want to choose a better lifestyle. Life is never going to settle down. There is never going to be a lack of chaos or holidays, a lack of vacations. You're never going to not have an anniversary or birthdays to celebrate or family in town or crises and emergencies that occur in your life, okay? So the best time to navigate life is right now. All of that I mentioned is life, and that is not going away. It's not, you don't just say, well, when all of this stops, then I'm going to start. That stuff's never stopping. So how do you learn to navigate those things? The holidays, the vacations, the anniversaries, the birthdays, the chaos, the emergencies, the crises, the loss, the grief, everything that you walk through in life. How do you navigate that while taking care of your health and maintaining your ability to care for yourself? And that is what we learn to do here. Okay, now we're officially getting started. That part's over. So I know some of you have already read every single piece of material that you have received. You're stalking all the coaches on Instagram. You're meal prepping. You're doing the exercises. that is amazing. But today, I'm just going to basically go over again the basis of the faster way to fat loss and what we will be doing here. I will also leave some room at the end of this call for you guys to ask me some questions, and then we'll just do that in the chat feature. Okay. So the faster way to fat loss is technically a gluten and dairy free program, but it is not a requirement. I gotta let my dog out. You are free here to work on, oh my gosh, am I recording this call? Did I press record? I am. Okay. You are free here to work on the changes that you want to implement as you begin to eat foods that come from the ground or have a mother. Not everybody is ready to just cut out the gluten and the dairy completely, and you don't want to do something that is so restrictive. You will pick a couple things each week or each day that you want to implement. So it is progress over perfection. I am personally gluten and dairy limited. Okay, I am minimal. And that is naturally going to occur as you begin to eat whole foods that come from the ground and have a mother. It's going to just kind of happen naturally. So I typically eat a little dairy on my low carb days to get in that extra fat. And I have not completely cut out processed foods, though I don't consume a ton of them. And by processed foods, I mean like rice cakes or a protein bar, things like that, that don't technically come from the ground or have a mother, because you're going to have days that you've got to just throw that in because you're busy and you want to meet your macros. So I don't want you to be like overly obsessed, especially if you're like Enneagram 1, because you'll be like, some of you are like, I don't even know what the Enneagram is, but that's okay. Okay, so let's see, where was I? Okay, but you do the things and you do the degree that you can do each day, each week. Take it one step at a time. All of these things that I'm handing to you, all of these guidelines, you make progress in those areas. And each day you will progress further and further. Months down the road, the things you thought you could never change or weren't even on your radar become a thing of the past. Your worst day moving forward will become better than your best day previously. We will start with the basics and you will work from there as you are able and ready, making progress, setting new goals each week toward what you can attain. And as you may have discovered in your reading, the Faster Way to Fat Loss is a program that turns you from a sugar burner into a fat burner. And that takes a different time process or time period for each of us, depending on the health journey that we've been on. And we do this through carb cycling and intermittent fasting. By eating the right macros at the right time, through carb cycling, we deplete our stored glycogen and cause our bodies to burn that stored fat. If we don't, our bodies just continually burn that sugar before it turns to fat instead of burning the stored fat. And that in turn leaves us with a ton of unhealthy stored fat. And then with the carb cycling, we follow an eating rotation each week for optimal fat burning strategies. We're going to have 2 low carb days each week, which are Mondays and Tuesdays. But now, as far as those 2 low carb days go on Mondays and Tuesdays, that's going to be the same throughout the whole 6 weeks. We're not going to do like 2 low carb days on Monday and Tuesday this week and then 2 low carb days next week on Thursday and Friday. It will always be Mondays and Tuesdays, and that's throughout the entire Faster Way to Fat Loss community. So that's not just when you first start out. Now, on those low carb days, the biggest struggle that you will face is getting in enough fat. And we're talking good, healthy fat, avocados, bacon. I know, isn't that crazy? You get to eat bacon. What else? Oh, nuts, seeds, nut butter. All of those things are going to get that good, healthy fat into your body. So when you are looking at your macros for a low carb day, you are going to have 50 net carbs or less on a low carb day. So does that make sense to everybody? That is sometimes what is the biggest challenge, is that people don't understand that your protein's going to stay the same on a low carb day. Whatever your settings are, that's going to stay the same. And then you're going to have 50 net carbs 50 net carbs is you take your carbs that you consume that day. So say you consume 72 carbs in your macros through MyFitnessPal, but you have like, I don't know, 30 grams of fiber. You subtract that 30 grams of fiber from those 72 carbs, and you're actually, oh my gosh, I can't even do math right now. What is 70 minus 32? Whatever that is. This is why my kids had a math tutor this year. What? I can't even unmute Britt. She's like saying it to me. Whatever that is, guys, that is, can y'all believe I used to be a teacher and I homeschool my kids? But they go to math and I have a math tutor because I am like all too focused on this. I can't even subtract. What'd I say, 70 minus 32? Okay, so is that 38? I did it, 38. Okay, so then your net carbs would be 38. All right, so there's a lot of room in there. But if if MyFitnessPal tells you that your daily fat gram is 60, on a low carb day, you want that to be about 120. Okay, that's going to be your biggest struggle. So for all of week 1, week 2, week 3, you're going to find yourself being frustrated because you're going to say, you're going to give it to us and you're going to be like under on your fat. And Emily and I are going to be like, bump it up, bump it up, bump it up. You got to get up to such and such. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. But you will get it. So I hope that that explains what your low carb days will look like. Then we're going to move on to Wednesday and Thursday. Those are your regular macro days. And those are tricky. They're going to be your easiest days because if you don't have the MyFitnessPal Premium, you're just following what it tells you. You don't have to do any math on Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturday because the settings that you have in MyFitnessPal, you don't change that. Your protein's going to be your protein. Your carbs are going to be your carbs. Your fat's going to be your fat. Then the hard part becomes you've had 2 days of eating, less than 50 net carbs. Well, now I'm telling you to eat 200 grams of carbs. And you're like, how do I get 200 grams of carbs in my body? And so the way that you'll do that is through quinoa, brown rice, sweet potatoes, beans, legumes. Those sorts of things are going to get your carbohydrate intake up. All right. It's going to be really, really difficult in the beginning. We will continually say, here's the things you're going to hear. On Mondays and Tuesdays, you're going to hear boost up your fat. On Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, you're going to hear boost up your carbs. Then the tricky part is going to be, Amberly, Emily, I can't eat this much food. And you're right. You're going to be like, they were not joking when they said this was the least restrictive program or eating plan that exists. Y'all, you're not going to be able to eat so much food in the beginning. That is okay. We want you to eat until you're 80% full. And if you don't meet the macros, don't just stuff yourself to fill in that nutrient chart. Really and truly, and just say that in your comments, here's where I landed, I'm 80% full, and we will say, you're doing great. And so that's that. And don't worry, y'all, you are not expected to keep all of that straight today. It is going to take a little time, but just so you know, every day of the carb cycling plan, every day of each week is going to be the same throughout the 6 weeks. We're not going to move around all the days. Mondays and Tuesdays will always be low carb, high fat. Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday will always be regular macro. And then Friday and Sunday are going to be low macro. And those can be a little bit tricky because you've got to do the math. And I have actually created, side note, I didn't create that. My assistant created this because she's creative. And I'm going to post this. It's not Emily. It's a different person. Emily's great too, by the way. But I don't know if Emily's not like me and we're not making charts right now. So I'm going to share my screen with y'all and just show you kind of what I'm going to post in the whatchamadill later. Okay, so here's my screen and my assistant made this for us. This is not a Faster Way to Fat Loss branded planning chart. This was just really something I did on my own, my very first round, and I handed it to my assistant and I said, can you make something like this that's cuter, because mine was not cute. And so she did. So please do not share this outside of your refrigerator because I could get in trouble for branding. So what this is just a macro planning chart. And what you'll do is you can take your MyFitnessPal and go through here and write just write 50 here, 50 here, and then take what your MyFitnessPal tells you for fat on a regular day. Dixie, hush. And get in your bed. And double it, right? So if I had mine pulled up like a good coach, I would be able to just put that in there for y'all right now, but I'm not going to take the time to do that. So if MyFitnessPal tells you that your fat on a regular day is 50, you're going to write on Mondays and Tuesdays in this fat line, you're going to write 100. And that's just going to kind of help you. And then your protein's going to stay the same for Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Your protein will stay the same on those days. This Friday, Sunday, these low macro days, those are a bit of a challenge. You're going to literally get out your calculator and you're going to take your carb goal, which maybe it's 178. You're going to multiply that times 0.75. That answer becomes what you put in this carb goal right here. All right. This should be pretty self-explanatory. If you need our help, let us know. And then you can just kind of go through here and just kind of plan out what you're going to have. See, eliminating breakfast just really makes your meal planning a lot easier. Right? Right. And I actually will take my, let's see here. Let me get my screen back. Okay. I will actually take my MyFitnessPal and I kind of go through each of my days throughout the week and pre-program in my meals and kind of get them where they need to be. And I make my grocery list from there. It's like half the work than to do a grocery plan and a meal plan and a list and then try to make it fit your macros. Start in MyFitnessPal, arrange it like a puzzle, and then, or Tetris if you're from like my generation, and get it all fitting and then make your grocery list is what I would suggest. So that's that. Let me see. Are there any, before I move on, are there any questions on that? You can put them in the chat feature. I hope that everybody else isn't lost. I feel so bad, y'all, that everybody did not get on this call. Are there any comments in the Facebook group, Emily? You may want to check and see if anybody's like, where are you? And you know how sometimes the posts, you go to the page and like the most recent post is like way far down and nobody can find it. They can still have a chance to hop on. That's really discouraging. I'm so sad for them. Okay. So that's the chart. So in addition to the carb cycling, we are practicing intermittent fasting. If is probably a new buzzword that you have been hearing a lot about lately. In addition to all of the things that will change for your body fat-wise, it actually has anti-aging benefits and the ability to heal hormonal issues. Many of you know Tara Stack. She literally became a coach, for obvious reasons. Additionally, she has a family generation of Alzheimer's, including her mother. And so intermittent fasting has actually been proven to lessen and lengthen the mental awareness of Alzheimer's patients. So she's very passionate about that. Read up on it. There is a ton of information, and it is really, really fascinating as to what you're actually doing on the cellular level for yourself long-term as it relates to intermittent fasting. And it's going to change your body. So there's actually a coach that I was on a training weekend with back in April, was it? February, April? And she has Hashimoto's, and she'd been like for 10 years. And so she'd always been gluten and dairy free because that's what's suggested for Hashimoto's and a lot of thyroid conditions. And it wasn't until she started doing the faster way to fat loss, the actual carb cycling and the intermittent fasting, that she was able to decrease her medication in half. So I also have a cousin who is in the VIP program. She's my partner in wellness consulting, actually. And she had thyroid cancer at 18. And so obviously she has no thyroid and has some major hormonal issues that have to be treated with medication. And she was able to lose 21 inches in the faster way to fat loss. And it has helped get her medicine regulated. So there's just tons of medical benefits to the program. However, if you do have hormonal Hashimoto's, thyroid dysfunction, adrenal fatigue, pregnant or breastfeeding, I do want you to send me a private message through Facebook is fine. I will not start looking at client assessment forms until next week. And so if you have any of those conditions, you will have a few modifications I will mention in the call. But if you could just send me a message and give me a heads up, you can copy Emily Dowling on that as well. That would be super, super helpful. And if you're breastfeeding, did I say that? Because you'll have a couple of modifications. And we are literally right now, I think, on the daily checking how many macros would we be looking at on a night, Emily, or throughout the day. So 60, 50, 100, and maybe 100, and you've got your own group. So we're looking at 150 different macros each night. So if you say, like one friend over in another group, she always puts a little emoji of a baby to remind us that she's breastfeeding because hers are going to look a little bit different. So any kind of tips you want to give these mamas that are homeschooling 11 children between us, when you post, it does not mean you are not valued as an individual. It just means that it's a brain thing. So any kind of help would be great on that. So once again, the actual purpose of the intermittent fasting is so that our bodies will go into a fasted state and dip into our stored fat for the energy that it needs. We're not restricting calories or nutrition. Let me repeat that. We are not restricting calories or nutrition. So if you're used to consuming 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day, you're going to be upset with us when yours are set to like 15, 16, 1,700. But that is what your body needs. Once again, ask yourself the question, was that working? No, this is counterintuitive, and I promise you it's going to change things, okay? And it's going to take a few weeks of us looking at your macros before we catch the trick, but we will catch it. Don't you worry. And then we'll send you a private message and say, hey, send me a screenshot of those goals. Let's see what that looks like. And then you'll make you bump it up, and then you'll be like, I quit. Okay, so the other thing that you probably know, unless you haven't had a chance to read the information, is that we are providing our body with the appropriate macros, macronutrients. Those are simply 3 things that are going to change your life because that's all you have to pay attention to: fats, carbs, and protein. That's all you need. We call this unit of fats, carbs, and proteins macros. I literally thought macros were for the beefy, like gym rats that walked around with like a gallon jug of water and just chugged it all day. I was like, oh, that's macroing. I am not macroing. But it's not that crazy. It's literally macronutrients. We have macronutrients and we have micronutrients. But right now, I just want you focused on the macronutrients: carbs, fats, and proteins. It is going to change your world. And so although we only eat in an 8-hour period of time throughout the day, which I've gotten this question and I will answer it further in the Q&A if I get asked again, but that 8-hour period of time is up to you. Like, you don't have to do 12 to 8. You can do 11 to 7. You can do 10 to 6. You can do 9 to 5 if you're like a early riser and an early to bed person. You can decide what those 8 hours look like. That's you've picked those 8 hours. But generally speaking, people go 12 to 8. But you can do 1 to 9 or 2 to 10 if you're like, empty nesters and you're not putting people to bed at 7:30 and you're, enjoying quiet evenings and you eat at 9 p.m. Do it, because you don't have to worry about that. Oh, I can't eat after 8 p.m. because you're fasting until 2 p.m. So you pick the 8 hours that work for your family, your lifestyle, your job, your travel, whatever your situation is, you get to decide what that looks like. Hey, Emily, would you do me a favor? Will you pop on to, will you pop into the November new group and just let them know we had some technology issues on my 11 o'clock call, and that I will start their call when this call is over? Do you mind to do that? Thank you so much.
Do you have an idea on the time, ballpark?
Probably 20 minutes.
Okay, got it.
And then I know you've got to hop off and take your call too. So, okay. So knowing and paying attention to just those macros, just concentrating on that 8-hour window. If you have the adrenal fatigue, thyroid issues, pregnant, breastfeeding, you're probably going to have more of a 12-hour or a 14-hour fasting window, and we'll work on that, and you'll just really listen to your body and see, how long have I been like piecing out? Sorry, I got frozen. You will determine that for yourself based on kind of some ways that you feel. This does become very intuitive, and you do need to listen to your body. You're not just like trying to make, a perfect ratio of nutrients and, oh, I've got 5 more minutes till I'm supposed to eat. Like, no, you need to also listen to your body. So, and paying attention to those macros, y'all, was the most helpful portion of the program for me, because I spent years upon years trying to pay attention to like every trend out there at the same time. For real. I was going to Whole30 and keto and 21-day fix myself and trim healthy mama and paleo and South Beach. I was going to do all of that like at the same time, because everything had like these great components to it, but none of that was going to work. And so that's the beauty of the faster way to fat loss. I tried everything else, and many of you probably have too. And so the beauty of the faster way is that it literally has proven with results time and time again, the science behind carb cycling and intermittent fasting. And I've never felt better in my life, not to mention I'm no longer restricted. And on our week 1 call, Emily will jump in and share a little bit of her journey as well. So I'm no longer napping 2 to 3 hours a day. I'm doing more now with my days than I ever thought possible. And I can literally probably count on 2 hands the number of times we've been through the drive-through in the last year. And for a family of 7, I get this question, we spend about $250 a week at the grocery store. And that's because I'm not like frugal, or did I get muted? Okay. I'm not like, okay. What? Sorry, guys. Emily's like, you said that call is tomorrow. Did I? What call do I have today? Well, that's exciting. I don't have a 12 o'clock call. I did move it till tomorrow. Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyway, why did I think that? Did I write it? Do I have something else at 12 o'clock? I don't even know. But, oh well. Okay, so either way, this program is extremely doable and cost effective. I promise if you put forth your best effort, the program will do the rest for you. All right. And then what's going to happen, and please don't get mad at me, is that you're going to end up spending more money on clothes than you do the boot camp. Promise you that. And unfortunately, though, and this was a question y'all asked too, the faster way to fat loss does not provide a meal plan. And I know at first I was just kind of like, what the heck? No meal plan for $200? Like, what kind of boot camp is this? But now, and you will also, by the end of this 6 weeks, you're going to be so thankful, because if I gave you a meal plan, you're not going to try to figure this out. You're not going to be empowered. You're not going to be equipped. You're not going to learn what your body needs and what you need to do to meet those macros. Because here's the thing, if I said, okay, now on Tuesday, you're going to have, broiled salmon and roasted Brussels sprouts, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I hate this program because I hate salmon and I hate Brussels sprouts. So you're going to make this work for your family. You're not going to have to cook 3 different meals. Like, you're going to figure out, last night, for example, I say you don't have to cook different meals, and my kids will eat spaghetti squash. They will eat the zoodles and all of that kind of stuff. But last night we did have zoodles with the spaghetti sauce, and they did have regular pasta. So you can make some kind of easy switches to kind of accommodate the rest of your family. But overall, you don't have to differentiate and make things just overly complicated. I mean, y'all, I'm not a cook. Okay. So you don't have to make this harder than it is. And that's what I really want you to dig into. I really want you to keep it simple and figure that part out. And plus, I'm not a certified dietitian, so I can give you some ideas, but I cannot prescribe a meal plan to you. And y'all may have heard me mention, if you are that kind of person that you're like, no, I need a cookbook, I need a prep schedule, I want a grocery list, and I want to know each day what I should have. I have mentioned before that modern homemade meal plan. This is written by a friend of mine. It's legit. We've been friends for 14 years. Our oldest were about 5 months apart. I tell the story, and if you were there on Saturday, you heard it. I used to just pour a bunch of vegetables like in a crock pot and cook them and then blend them up for my oldest as baby food. And my friend who created this meal plan that's for carb cycling and intermittent fasting, it's not a faster way to fat loss cookbook, but it's what she and so many of us use. And as a matter of fact, Angel, what's the name of that chicken for tonight?
It's marinade.
Okay. And tonight we're having one of the, I won't pull out I printed, it's a digital cookbook, and you get each week by week. And I actually printed it out and put it in sleeve protectors. And so, thank you. So it kind of looks like this. And each week she gives literally like, and it does pair like a low carb and a regular macro. She gives you like the ingredients, the grocery list, how to prep it in blocks. So like if you have an hour here on Saturday and then maybe you have an hour on Sunday, you can prep the different, there's like a 4-step prepping schedule that doesn't take your entire day. So many people love it. It also has the macros with it. And so as I'm not, originally we were going to try to collaborate and just kind of make it a thing. And I was like, okay, A, this is not my thing. And B, I'm too busy to do that. And so she does, so that she took this out on her own. And, but she does give me a code that you can use and save $10 on that. And so you may not want it now, but you may in the future when you're kind of tired of everything you figure out you want. And then it'll kind of give you some different ideas. So let's see, if you want that, I'll post it in I may have posted it already. Can't remember. Okay. So the biggest obstacle and roadblock that I overcame, guys, was my mind. I never thought I could be healthy or look fit. I never thought I would be a runner. I never thought I could desire making exercise and nutrition not only a priority, but something. I'm going to move from the kitchen because it's kind of getting loud in here. But so I never thought it would be something that could become natural or my job, right? And so there are several of you in this group that know that, and you have seen the change take place in my life personally. Either we are friends or we are in community get together somehow. Let me get some light on in here. And so, and I want this for everyone, y'all. Like, I want everyone to experience this lifestyle and come to just a better understanding of yourself and what you can accomplish in this program. So here are some helpful tips. I want you to do what you can as you can, okay? If you haven't worked out in a long time, maybe for now you focus on just the nutrition. There have been plenty of successful people who have just focused on nutrition. Like my sister-in-law lost 25 pounds her first 6 weeks and couldn't do a single workout because of the knee surgery. So don't overwhelm yourself thinking you've got to figure all this out and get these workouts in. Like, just do a little bit each day to help get toward those goals, because it's too frustrating to figure out the macros and making it work. Like, if that becomes overwhelming, I don't want you to be defeated. So I want you to take little bitty steps at a time. Maybe this, for the first couple of weeks, just get the nutrition down and just be active. Go walk your neighborhood or, do something you enjoy. And then maybe in week 3, start the workouts. Do not beat yourself up. If you are finding that you're entering in your foods and they're not turning out the way that you need it to for your macros, do not quit. Just keep logging your food and let us know, okay, guys, I'm logging, I'm tracking, I haven't figured this out. That is still great practice. So do not see the negative in everything you do if it's not done correctly at first. Be like, look at me. I didn't get it right, but I tracked everything. Okay. And that's kind of what will push you to acknowledge. I do want you to set a couple realistic goals for yourself each week throughout the program, and you will find success. If you are planning to work out and you have not done so in a while, do half of the workout. All right. And you probably won't. People really don't listen to me all the time, and that's okay. But you probably won't, and you'll probably try to do the whole thing, and then what's going to happen is you can't sit on the potty, and you can't go up the stairs, and you're so miserable physically that you can't focus well on your nutrition. I want you to focus on the nutrition. I want you to do half of the workout because I want you to feel good about the fact that you moved your body, because you're still going to be a little bit sore even if you just do half of it. If you haven't worked out in a while, I want you to move your body. I want you just to kind of get your body in motion with the moves, become familiar with them before you start crushing it. Okay. Do half of it. I'm telling you, next week, you're going to be like, I didn't listen. And now I'm in pain because we don't have time, y'all. We women, we're busy. We have zero time to have to brace ourselves to go TT. All right. So do not murder yourself in that way. like I said, you're going to feel terrible and not have the energy to fuel yourself. And I want that to be your priority. So a few expectations for how we will communicate and how the group will function each day. It will be super, super helpful if you post all of your questions on the Facebook page in the daily thread. Nothing is dumb. Everyone, we are all at different phases and stages, and half the time, none of us can really think straight. And like, don't spend an hour trying to find the answer to something when you can just ask. I will post a frequently asked question file at the top of this group. Don't look at how messy my room is, okay? I will post a frequently asked question file in the page later. If you do feel like you want to check that out before you ask in the group, that's great. That's fantastic. We appreciate that as well. But do not feel dumb asking a question, even if it's something that you're like, oh my gosh, now I remember that. I promise you, this is a safe place to make progress. So we want to help you and support you in any way that we can. Let's see. And if somebody asks the question, if they're like, wait, how many calories breaks my fast? And you're like 50, you can answer that. If you get it wrong, we'll be like, oh no, actually, it's not, but it is. It's 50 calories. So a lot of people say, well, what can I do in the morning before I break my fast? Black coffee. You can do any of the coconut creamers, almond milk creamers. I mean, here's the deal. Don't go cold turkey on everything. If you're still doing your coffee the way you do, we'll work on that later. All right. Bone broth, hot tea, lots of water, sparkling waters are fine. Anything under 50 calories, technically. We would encourage stevia over any other artificial sweeteners. But like, I literally have a friend that's a coach, and for like the first 6 months, she was measuring out how much sugar she could have in her coffee, like just pure sugar, before she broke her fast. So like I said, you're going to make different steps of progress throughout this whole period. Another reason why I need you to ask the questions in the group instead of sending me a Facebook message or an Instagram message or a text message is because I don't always see everything. And so I don't want you to feel devalued because I didn't answer you. It's literally because I didn't see it. But if you put it in the group page, Emily or I will see it unless it's Facebook's fault, because Facebook is crazy town. And Facebook you're going to notice you can't find our post for the day. It's like 7 days back in some random area. Or you're going to find that or sometimes we'll get a notification that so-and-so, like so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so commented on the post. We'll click on the notification. It only shows one of you unless we go back into the entire post. So if there's ever 24 hours that go by and there's a question or a macro screenshot that you wanted answered or commented on and you did not get one from me or from Emily, I want you to go back and I want you to tag us, because it'll bump it back up for us to see it, because it just means we didn't see it and it is Facebook's fault. So that would be super, super helpful. Another thing is posts will arrive every morning around 6 a.m. We're going to have 3 more of these calls, these video conferences throughout the group, throughout the 6 weeks. And Emily and we will not both comment on every single thing throughout the group. I mean, like, she's a certified coach. We can both answer these questions. We can both comment on your macros. And we will both, it may be one day Emily's working in the group, I may be working in another group. So one of us will definitely answer your question, comment on your macros, but it's going to kind of change. And it'll normally take place, as you may have already noticed, we'll check in and answer questions and make comments in the morning, then maybe sometime in the day, and then during about an hour time period in the evening. So if you post your macros at night and we don't say anything, you'll hear from us the next morning. So that's kind of how we maintain balance as mamas and homeschoolers and coaches and all of those things. So Sundays, you won't hear a lot from us. That is our day of Sabbath. That's our day of family. That's our day of worship. And day of rest. And so I would actually encourage you to do the same. Post your macros, and then we'll answer that on Monday morning. If you have a major, major question, like, oh my goodness, I'm looking ahead at the workouts for the week, I don't understand such and such, go ahead and post that on a Sunday and just tag us. We don't mind to jump in and answer if we see it, but sometimes we don't. So, otherwise we will be pretty low key on Sundays, and we want you guys to enjoy that day as well. So I do ask, share your ideas that you find. Share your snacks that help you get a lot of fat. Share your recipes that your entire family loves. Share that on this page with each other. It will be such a better community and so much more helpful for you guys to share those things. And that is how we're going to keep making progress. Beginning Monday, you will start posting the screenshot of your macros. Now, in the MyFitnessPal tutorial, it talks about that pie chart, and I definitely want you to pay attention to that, but you are going to post your nutrient tab. Your nutrient tab, if you slide it over to where it says nutrients in your app or on the, you can click on it on the website, that's actually going to be more helpful for you, because if your goal is to have 72 grams of protein, then it's going to tell you how many you have consumed throughout the day, and you know how many you have left. It's a much, much better and more helpful tool for you. So we want you to post the nutrient tab. All right. So I think that is all that I have for you. I do have some other tips, but I want to know what questions you may have, and I will answer those. You can either, oh, yay, okay, lots of questions. I'm going to read through them, and if you can type it in the chat feature, or you can just unmute yourself and ask. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read them, because this chat feature will not be available in the replay because it's a recording. So I want to read these questions that are in the chat and the answers to them that Emily has answered, just so that the people watching later can hear this, okay? So someone says, will you be on MyFitnessPal setting some of these goals? If you plug in your goals as directed in the video, the gram totals that are generated. Yes, okay, that's a great question, Robin. So yes, you actually set your own goals through that tutorial that came in your email, and or it's going to be posted again if you haven't had a chance to. It walks you through it step by step and according to your age, height, weight, et cetera, et cetera. This is the only time we really look at our weight. Although everybody still looks at it, it's fine. But anyway, and that's just kind of your starting ground. So that will determine your set of macros. Everybody's is going to look different. So that video walks you through what yours will specifically look like. So that's a great question. Jane says, is it okay to take supplements during the fasting period? Yes. Now, some people need to not have certain things without food. So if you need to adjust your feeding window and your fasting schedule to take those supplements by a certain time, absolutely do that. Okay, Britt says, is it okay to drink coffee throughout the day with almond creamer fitting in your nutrients as long as you also get your water intake? I mean, I don't see why not. We would say, I mean, that may be something that, you know, hopefully as your energy increases, you will not need as much coffee throughout the day. But I personally, I try to limit myself to 2 cups a day, maybe 3 in the morning. But, you know, that can be a gradual process. So, but as far as like your actual macro, I'm less concerned about what's in the coffee as I am about the caffeine over a long period of time. So yeah, but yeah, you're fine macro wise for that. Lee says, I've tried to add the Fast Away new client portal to my screen on my phone. Once I close out and reopen it, it goes back and I have to enter the password. You do have to enter the password over and over. I know it's not that way on my computer. You know how you can just like save the password, or unless somebody else has another answer. I never figured out how to make it to where I didn't have to enter the password again. So I'm sorry, that's kind of annoying. So are there are there any other questions that y'all have? I have a whole list of frequently asked questions that I will post. But if not, we can be done here and y'all can move on about your day. And then if you think of something later, and you will have more questions come up for sure. So I'm serious. I feel like that your brain only has the capacity to take in so much new information at a time. And so even though you will hear us say the same things over and over, and all of the things that I mentioned today and questions that were answered, it's almost like sometimes our brains can't really hear it for another couple of weeks. So that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It's literally like you just only have the ability to absorb so much information at a time. So do not be too hard on yourself if that's the case. That's what we're here for. I want you to be reminded that everyone starts at the same place of knowing zero information about this program. Okay, you are not alone in your lack of understanding. You are not alone in feeling overwhelmed. Like Emily started in this exact same place. I started in this exact same place. So we are here to guide you because we have not forgotten what it was like to learn all of this counterintuitive, overwhelming, brand new information about this lifestyle. So do not beat yourself up that it's like, oh, I'm not getting that. Or you're like, how did I miss that? Like, all completely normal, 100% completely normal. That's what we're here for. It's going to be a process. I almost should tell people at the end of week 6 to go back and listen to this call and remember how you felt and remember what you thought and be like, and send me a message and be like, yep, you're right. That's exactly how I was feeling. And I'm not now. So I hope that this was somewhat helpful for y'all, that it's a great starting point, that you feel kind of a little bit easier and able to navigate the next few days. And then we will talk again this time next week. And look, we had no more sound problems. So maybe that will just be a thing of the past. So thanks for bearing with me. If you're watching this replay later, I am so sorry. I know so many of you were on this call and you apparently never found it again. And I'm really sorry, but we have it recorded. So you can go back and watch it. And just side note, I went back and read the comprehensive guide probably 12 times. I watched this prep call video so many times because it just felt like sometimes I was just like, I need a little motivation. I'm feeling a little discouraged. So anyway, I hope that y'all have a great day. I'm so proud of y'all. I was thinking I actually wasn't going to cry, but I am so proud of just each and every one of you, just for your path, your journey until now, what it's going to look like moving forward. This is what makes me passionate about what I'm doing. So there's a lot that goes in on the back end of things that actually isn't my favorite, but this part is my favorite. So I'm so glad that I get to be with you for the next 6 weeks in this group, and it is going to be an amazing journey. So hope y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.